Sure. Yes, let me present. Thanks, Tanmay. Like it's glad to be here. Um, Let me share my screen. So, second. Yeah, yeah. Can you see it? Okay. So thank you. First of all, thank you, everyone, in this call, for your time and inviting me for the talk. This is first time I've been invited during the college, and I accepted it due to Aman, to be honest. and and yeah, like I see you guys in Vadodara. Uh, I have been in. So I'm from Gujarat, Ahmedabad, and I've studied in Nadiad, DDIT, Dharam Siddhi Science Institute of Technology, like in 2011, 2007, 2011, and I've traveled to Vadodara pretty often, weekends and monthly basically, and yeah, like I enjoyed uh, nylon pav bhaji, especially in Vadodara. I'm not sure if you have been to Vadodara because some people are joined maybe this college after pandemic maybe. But yeah, like before pandemic, like we in 2007, 11 we were there and enjoying our time at the college. So I think yeah, so this is very personal to me specifically from Vadodara, being Vadodara. Yeah, so today I will be talking about blockchain and the future of blockchain and
Sure.
the how
Let
the future
me
of
present.
technology would look like. My only goal for this presentation, for this slide and talk would be to ignite curiosity, nothing else. I won't be talking about much about the blockchain, how it works, etc. I won't talk about the technology itself. I won't talk about like how you should learn it. I, I just my goal for this slide is just to kind of give you a little bit hint and direction and let it uh, you guys to do the rest of it because that's the best way to learn anything. For me personally, when I started learning blockchain, there was no blockchain academy or the people who can teach me blockchain in India, right? And I learned, you know, by myself. Uh, I hired people from the blockchain industry and the colleges, etc., and directly, asked them to work on the blockchain and learn blockchain instead of, me giving them kind of, talk on blockchains. So, I'm a major believer in the self-learning part, and it will basically help you in a lot of life areas as well. If you are self-learner, you can basically go anywhere in the world and do anything in the world, right? Because innovation can't be taught. You just have to go and take it or build it basically. So yeah, so starting with my name, and I'm Jayanti Kanani. I also go by name with JD. You can search me on Twitter, Google, anywhere you can find me. I'm a co-founder and CEO at Matic. We just rebranded to Polygon. So Polygon and Matic, don't confuse with the names, like both are same. We just rebranded it, so that's why just easy to go with both. Yeah, so as I said, I'm originally from Ahmedabad. I've been studying Gujarat only, GDIT, and after that, like I've joined one college. Sorry, placement interview, and I got selected in the persistent system in Pune, and then one thing led to another, and then I joined housing.com, one startup in Mumbai, like 4 years back. And then I started Matic Polygon in late 2017. Yeah, so what Polygon does is the Matic specifically, it scales transactions for blockchain. Um, Currently in the current situation in the current market, the blockchain is very slow. If you make a transactions on the blockchain, if you interact with the blockchain contracts, it takes a lot of time and the fees. We make it cheaper and faster using the layer 2 technologies. And yeah, like, of course, like, I won't go into details again. I'll if you want to learn more about Matic and Polygon, feel free to email me. I'll share the links and documentations, everything you want. Yeah, so before if you talk about the area of innovations in the world, currently the internet comes to your mind, right? So without internet, we wouldn't be here talking with you guys and presenting and listening, giving a talk on blockchain. So internet was the first, I would say, the technology advancement in the world, which basically allows people to share data, information, to one location to another location, right? So currently, I'm sitting over here in my room. I'm basically sharing the information, talk with you guys all, thanks to internet. And with that, the mobile phones came, right? And mobile phones basically gives you a window and accessibility to the internet. And with that, like, everybody right now on using the internet, even if it's our parents, if our grandparents, like, they all are using mobile phones, connecting with you, sharing with you, like, if you have if you have your dinner or not. Everyone is basically now using the mobile phones and internet nowadays. They are so if, let's say, if you ask your parents, okay, hey, I need like 1,000 rupees, they just send you a UPI and send you money right away, right? So it's thanks to mobile phones and, of course, internet. And those are the things, very much important when you think about, let's say, creating or building something, right? So think about you being in Silicon Valley in 2007, right? When the iPhone once launched, you could have built something better, right? You could have built, let's say, next Facebook, Instagram, or Uber, maybe anything, right? Because you had a chance to build something when innovation was kind of going through, right? Same for the internet, right? In 1970, like, Microsoft was there, and then later Amazon, of course, came, and so the specific time people were there, and they grabbed the opportunity and built something huge, built something world-changing technology, kind of, startups and companies out of it. And that's very important. And the next, I would kind of argue that the next would innovative thing would be blockchain. And you guys, why you should take your attention to blockchain and crypto, of course, because I'm everyone kind of most notable people in the world, and thinking about, talking about the blockchain, crypto, and saying, okay, this is the next major thing in technological advancement. And yeah, like, I think current blockchain technology is very powerful, and if uses very well, no, correctly, like, it can change the entire lifestyle of the current generation. If uh, specifically blockchain. So if you talk about internet and mobile phones, it changes the multiple things, like data, uh, information, payments, money, etc. Right? And for the blockchain, it started with a simple money, right? So it kind of changes the institution of money. And when we say institutions of money, it comprises of banks and governments, right? It basically have kind of we talk about, let's say if we talk about the money, we have commodities, metal coins. Few decades ago, we have paper currency, and now we also have a UPI and electronic payments, right? And all these things basically have common is like banks and governments. So banks and governments are basically part of the institution of money. Those are the sub institutions which basically drives the whole money paradigms in the world, right? So banks basically issuing, managing your track records through on the ledger, and say, okay, hey, Tanmay basically owns, or maybe Tanmay has, let's say, 1 lakh rupees in his bank account, right? So those things basically banks kind of tracks for you. And governments regulates the money, right? They prints and mints and burns money. They changes money in a specific region. Let's say in India, like RBI and government basically changes the regulations around the money. And this is kind of involves people, right? The whole decision making of around the money involves people, the network of people, I would say, right? And they set some rule to the ecosystem, right? So let's say they say, okay, hey, this is the 5 rupees coin. It is worth 5 rupees, right? There's a rule, right? You can basically can't just trade it with 100, right? You can trade it if the both party agrees, but it's kind of a rule you basically defined by the governments and banks and etc. And those rules kind of it's a network of rules basically, network with rules, right? And they agreed by the banks and governments, right? And this is what the blockchain changes, right? What blockchain does is that it changes the rules with the consensus, right? It removes, it doesn't remove the rules, but it just removes the need for the central party. So let's say currently you say, okay, hey, Tanmay has 1 lakh rupees and he wants to, let's say, spend, let's say, 10 rupees, right? If he can spend 10 rupees or not, it defines by rule of banks, right? And government, of course, RBI, that, okay, hey, if you have more than 10 rupees, then you can spend it. Otherwise, you can't, right? So that rule is defined by some people, and there is a centralized party like bank is there to verify those information, right? When you make a transaction, when Tanmay makes a transaction, it basically verifies it, right? If it's valid or not. What blockchain does, it just removes the central party, right? And create the consensus on the payments. When I said payments, it basically digital payments is basically just take example about the Paytm, right? The money. If you have a 10 rupees in your wallet, in your bank net banking, you can say, okay, digital money. You have a digital money, even if you don't have the hard cash on you, still you have money, right? So digital money, right? So if you make a payment, digital payment, it's basically what banks or the governments does is kind of defines the rules and abide by the rules and do the payments for using your money, right? What blockchain creates is the consensus without the central party. So there is no banks or central party, I would say, on the blockchain. So let's say if Tanmay wants to send 10 rupees to someone else, he doesn't want any permission to the for the bank. If bank say, okay, your signature is not valid, or you can't transfer 10 rupees because you are not in, let's say, Vadodara, because your branch was in Vadodara, you can't spend it more than 5 rupees maybe. So those kind of constraint, it will just removes it. uh, it basically yours money, you controls it, right? You Someone else just can't take your money without your consent, without your consent or without your signatures. And the whole the consensus part basically defines by the signatures, right? The digital signatures, the crypto signatures, and the whole blockchain networks is basically a bunch of nodes in the system agrees on the transactions and say, okay, hey, if this transaction is valid or not, they have a code which is rules. Basically code is here code is rules. Codes are kind of defines the rules for the payments, for the transfers, and that code runs on the every machine on the system in the blockchain, right? So blockchain is nothing but a kind of, you can say, okay, hey, blockchain is a multiple nodes, multiple machines across the network. A network can be, in India, it can be in the world. So currently the Matic network we are building, it's in the world. So it is not just in India, it's all over the world. So same for the other blockchains as well. So you run a software on your machine, right? It basically say, okay, hey, it basically kind of know, if for simplified example would be just if else conditions, right? It say, okay, hey, if Tanmay has more than 110 rupees, then he can spend 10 rupees, otherwise he can't, right? And after spending, Tanmay will have, uh, let's say x minus 10 rupees, and the other person will have x plus y plus 10 rupees more, right? Because you transfer the money, right? So it's plus minus, simple plus minus on the both side. So this is the kind of run executed on the every machine on the blockchain, right? And they all agree on the transfers. Okay, this transfer is valid or not, right? They basically come on the consensus that, okay, this is valid or not. Now if someone lies about it, someone say, okay, hey, someone cheats basically, then network ignores it, because the whole network will have a copy of the every transactions in the network, right? So they have a ledger of, and it contains the multiple transactions. They have a bunch of all the history of the transaction with them. Each machine will have. So you will know, right? If someone lies to you and you have a records of it, like you say, okay, hey, you don't have a 10 rupees, please, right? You can't spend uh, more than let's say 10 rupees, right? So that's a powerful concept, right? So if everyone have copies of transactions, then they can basically arrive on the consensus without knowing each other, right? So let's say, thinking about a simple exercise where, every if everyone here in the chat, in this call, will have the list of all the people, right? The roll numbers, right? If someone lies about it, okay, Tanmay say, okay, my roll number is different, then everybody would know, okay, this is Tanmay is lying, because no, this is not true, because I have a record that it says differently, and everyone agrees on it. Okay, hey, Tanmay is not Tanmay is basically cheating, right here. So those kind of, because if everyone has a record of transactions data, you can't basically change it. Like one person can't change it. If someone want to change it, everyone should kind of know, okay, hey, want to agree on or come to a consensus over the or particular change, and then they can change it. Otherwise it would be immutable. So in most blockchain, like, mostly if you make a transactions, valid transactions, it would be immutable. So you can't change it, right? In normal conditions, banks can basically overrides you. Bank can just say, okay, hey, yes, you can't make a transaction, it reverts your transactions. It can do anything. It can stop your money. It can basically, censor your money. It can do anything. It can make your bank balance zero if they want. They can do it. But in blockchain, it's impossible, right? It's even if someone wants to do it, some one person, they can't do it. That's the beauty of the blockchain. And if we talk about the simple, as I said, simple transfer, digital payments, where Bitcoin first came with the blockchain concept, where basically, it says, okay, there will be a decentralized ledger. Everybody will track kind of everybody will track the transfers, the transactions, and the accounts, the money that everyone will have, right? And Bitcoin basically just specifically for the peer-to-peer transfer with a cash system. So let's say if I want to send a 10 rupees, 10 kind of no values to Tanmay using Bitcoin, I can do that right now. If he just send me an address, I can just send 10 rupees directly without any third party, even if banks are closed, or banks, the Modi will, Mr. Narendra Modi can change the whole the cash system, but still I can send those that money in 10 minutes to Tanmay during this call, right? During this talk. So that's how the Bitcoin works. Bitcoin basically allows you to send a transactions, send a money to one person to another person without any third party, without any middleman. So let's say simple, like amount 10, I can send A to B without any problem. And then people after Bitcoin came, right, and everyone also started exploring the different way to uh, innovate on top of it, on blockchain, on Bitcoin blockchain, right? And then Ethereum came, right? So what Ethereum is, how Ethereum is kind of different than the blockchain, the Bitcoin blockchain, is that it also allows you to write your own code, and basically you can send associated data to the particular code you wrote before, right? What does it mean? Like, what does it mean you can write code on blockchain? What does it mean to write, send data to that, right? In Bitcoin, you can do plus or minus. For example, right, you can send money from one person to other person. You can basically deducting your money and adding that money to other person. You can doing plus and minus operation, right? In Ethereum, you can do much more than that, right? What you can do is you can basically write a simple code, write simple code. If else conditions, it can be loop, it can be anything. You can deploy on the blockchain, and you can run it based on the conditions. So let's say if I want to place a bet with Tanmay, saying, okay, hey, if let's say India wins the World Cup or India wins the series, I will get the 10 rupees, or otherwise you will get the 10 rupees, right? And we will both put five rupees on the table, and then whoever wins will get the money, right? So you can put those conditions where you can basically accept 5 rupees from myself and from Tanmay, and then put on the code, on the contract, on the blockchain, and based on the result of the cricket, anyone can kind of withdraw it, right? uh, and then at that point of time, after earning the after bet winning the bet, there is no way Tanmay can deny, okay, this I won't be paying you, or I can't deny, okay, I won't be paying you, right? Because both will already have deposited the money, and then whoever wins will get the money, right? So this is kind of where after depositing the money, nor I or Tanmay basically change it, right? The condition, and uh, we can't basically deny our bet or cancel. Of course you can add your cancel bet mechanism, but if you don't have a cancel bet mechanism, so the person has to pay, right? That is a condition there. Same goes to multiple things, right? Check, it can be checks, check like system. Once you write a check system, other person can withdraw it, and you can't basically deny it, or you can't basically bounce your check, right? Because there is a condition in there. You can write it, those things. And with that, people are basically writing many things on the blockchain right now. They are writing uh, payments, they are doing finance, they are identity solutions, gaming, you name it, basically, right? So simple payments can be possible using the simple transfers, right? A to B. Uh, People also doing in Ethereum community, people are also doing decentralized finance. It means that if you notice, like there is a mutual funds, there is a fixed deposit, there are kind of no interest rate borrowing, lending, borrowing happening in our banks system, right? Similar stuff you can do on blockchains, which much more efficiency and throughout the world, right? There is no boundaries in the blockchain, because the blockchain network is a simple, the computer networks around the network, around the globe. So there is no boundaries for them, right? If, let's say, if I want to borrow money from some person from Germany, I can do that using the blockchain. I don't need approval from banks or anything at all. Even if you don't have a kind of not track record, or you haven't visited on the in the Germany, right? You can borrow money from the Germany if you have a friend in the Germany, or you have some people in the Germany. You can do that in the blockchain, right? Even if you can also borrow, lend money from the people who you don't know, right? And how does it possible? Because this is the beauty of the smart contracts, or the code on the blockchain, right? As I said, because the code is written in such a way that it basically defines such multiple rules, and you can basically uh, do interact with the code, or the code is basically called smart contracts in the blockchain community. It's called smart contracts. So to the smart contracts, basically you can interact with them without knowing who is the third party, right? Who is your borrowing from, or you who you are lending to, right? So those things you can do without any risks. Of course, there will be a risk involved, but it's much more deeper than that. So, but yeah, like you can do that, right? But it's very hard to do in current financial system, right? In the banks, right? Banks take like multiple paperwork. There are thousands of paperwork you need to do before you get the home loan, right? And still, it's very painful, right? The interest very high, and multiple things, right? If you have ever worked with the financial system, it's very painful. And of course, like the Indian financial system works differently than the US financial systems or Germany financial system, right? They have their own rules, right? India has UPI best financial transfer system in the world. US or Germany doesn't have. The other countries, UK or they don't have a UPI kind of system at all. It's very painful if you want to send money to someone else. So every country has their own uh, kind of rules. But in blockchain, in the smart contracts, using the smart contracts, it's very very easy, right? Even let's say college kids like you guys can also build something, lending borrowing protocol today, right? If you, let's say, if someone wants to build lending borrowing protocol system in the blockchain, you can do it in, let's say, 1 hour. 1 hour, simple as that. Simple protocol, I would say, right? But you can't do it on the normal financial system. You need approvals from multiple people, license from the banks, and then you can basically uh, become a kind of actual licensed financial person, right? So those things you can avoid it, you know and of course there are multiple identity platforms as well, building on top of blockchains. People are also building uh, gaming assets on the blockchain. So why people are building a gaming on blockchain, right? So in gaming there are multiple assets, right? If you are building, if you are playing PUBG, right? Or if you are playing some other games, big games, Dota or something, each items have a rarity, right? So some items you can't find everywhere. Some items you can find very rare, and some items you can find everywhere, right? So those kind of items can be also on blockchain, and people are exploring those things. There are also NFTs going on right now, where people are creating art on blockchain and selling those art on the blockchain, and people are buying directly through the blockchain. So let's say if you want to buy some art, sitting on your college dorm room, I'm 100% sure you can't buy normal art with that, right? And but with the blockchain and NFTs, you can do that, sitting anywhere in the world, from anywhere. from everywhere, any person. So if you let's say if you like some artist from on in US, you can quickly kind of take their NFTs and own that art to yourself using the blockchain. So those kind of multiple use cases people are currently building and exploring on blockchains. This the whole what I've talked in this kind of the previous slides are pretty early stage. Of course, it's if you talk about the internet in 1970 or mobile phones in 2007, people seems like very skeptical about it. Like how this is going to work. I'm not going to buy a phone, or if let's say if what if my father doesn't have a phone, right? What should I do with the phone then, right? Those kind of things will come to your mind. But remember, this is the very early stage of blockchain, and that's why this is the best time to get into the blockchain, right? Because the early you are, the more powerful, the more a powerful control you have on the market, right? So the thing is that you can build anything you want and then kind of make it big, world changing products out of it, from there, right? Imagine, let's say, uh, uh, normal people come to me, most day and say, okay, hey, what should I learn after the college? I always say, okay, learn blockchain, Rust language, and blockchain, right? Because those are the things are very powerful. And after let's say after a few years, it will be a major no trend, right? If you learn Java or other any languages right now, like it doesn't make sense, right? There are like, if I want to hire some Java person, Java people, I can, there are a bunch of people I can hire in one day. So there's, you need to make sure you are in the right early stage of any market. You learn it, you make it good use of it, and then you will be kind of powerful in the world. Yeah. And yeah, like I don't have a much to talk. And please, if you are in if you are in early stage of exploring things, please do look at the blockchain and the whole ecosystem. Even if you don't build the specific use cases, you don't build a product, you can also help someone to build it. You can learn how it works end to end. Of course, this is also easy way to make money. People are investing a bunch of money in crypto. Of course, it's risky. I won't suggest you should borrow money and then invest in the blockchain. But the easy money also basically brings people, and it basically encourages you to build something beautiful, right? It's easy to build because you have a money, you can build anything. If you don't have money, you can't build anything, right? So that's a simple rule. So blockchains fortunately has also good money involved if you invest in specific cryptos. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's up to you guys, like how you want to pursue the blockchain. And yeah, that's it for this talk. I would, yeah, definitely go for the question and answer if you have any questions. Yeah, sure. Yeah, so that's a very great question. I get these questions very lot. So the thing is that Polygon, we started with the Polygon simple when Ethereum was very early stage, right? In 2007 and 2017, and then we started kind of creating the layer two, and people are now using layer two Polygon majorly. The thing is that even if 2.0 will come, there will be a specific. It won't be a kind of unlimited bandwidth for the Ethereum, right? It will have a 32, or I think 64 shards in the Ethereum, and you can't make like no infinite transactions on the Ethereum. So even Vitalik Buterin also said kind of no, you will need layer 2 after you will have a simple after it 2.0, and it 2.0 will basically work as support for layer 2. So I don't think it won't be as efficient as we kind of are thinking, like infinite scalability. Plus Polygon, we just kind of expanded our roadmap with the multiple chains, where you can have uh, that specific chains. Some people, let's say for gaming purposes, for the enterprises, they will have a DApp specific chain, and they can use Polygon instead of directly using the current chain of Polygon or maybe Ethereum. So that's how we are envisioning the going forward for the Polygon. Yeah. 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 So for the Polygon, so we are basically kind of think it as the uh, PayPal or Paytm before UPI. Okay. So how Paytm was different is was kind of no, it basically reduces your pain points or reduces your transaction cost for the for simple transfers, right? So you can deposit your money to the Paytm. You can transfer faster to everyone, and then whenever you want, you can move your money from back to Paytm or PayPal to your bank account, right? Similar, Polygon does it. What Polygon does is kind of you deposit your tokens or money, whatever you want, and to Polygon, you make a faster transaction. So transaction takes 2 seconds to 5 seconds on Polygon. It takes hard like 0.00003 USD for each transfer. And then after you can transfer to multiple people. And Polygon basically kind of creates the snapshot of the chain, the Polygon chain, and send it to the Ethereum chain. So snapshot is basically Merkle root of all the blocks of the Polygon. And Merkle root is basically Merkle hash on the Ethereum, and then you can verify your transactions on the Ethereum once the snapshot is done. So that's how it makes faster. You basically it's a faster change on parallel to Ethereum. You make faster transactions with the speed, and then you send a hash of that Polygon blocks to the Ethereum, so you can exit and verify and kind of prove that your transaction exits on the Polygon. Does it answer your question? Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, so there are multiple views going on in the Indian regulatory body. So I think financial minister already said that no, they won't ban the blockchain or crypto at all. They will regulate it some way that you have to expose your the holdings of the crypto to the government for the tax purposes and the avoiding the money laundering problems. So those kind of regulation comes to in the future, but they won't ban it. If they ban it, it would be a problem for India, of course, and people will move out of India because of the of course the issues, and it will basically slow down the growth for the India. But of course, like government won't do it. Government will basically regulate it and regulate with, and it's a good thing. Regulation is always a good thing because it reduces the scams and other kind of problems for in the market. So yeah, that's I think so we just have to wait for the final draft what it says. Mostly it will be a favor of the crypto. Yeah. What do you want to know about mining, like Bitcoin mining or proof of stake? Like specific you want to know? Mhm. Okay, okay. Okay, so mining is basically a algorithm runs on the proof of work, which says, okay, hey, you have to. So okay, so the thing is that the mining came to in the blockchain is for the time, right? For the time duration of the block, right? So let's say you have blockchain, and if you use people to create a blocks at any rate, they can just keep creating blocks if they want, right? And also it is very very hard to kind of find a bad blocks if someone cheats, right? If you allow people to create easy blocks. So what Bitcoin solves this problem is kind of creating a mining algorithm. So mining algorithm basically says, okay, hey, you have to find particular number in the hash. It basically contains 000 number of zeros is a prefix, and it takes almost 10 minutes to find it. Okay, there is a it basically defines by mathematical rules. It's so you can basically always say, okay, how much time it will take for such simple algorithm to find some number. In Bitcoin, it takes around 10 minutes to find particular number, and for the Ethereum, it takes 14 seconds. And it is called mining. So mining is nothing but finding a particular number for the next block. Okay. Once you find it, you basically creating the block. You are the proposer, or you are the creator of the block, and you get the rewards for it. And everyone on the system and then the network can verify it very easily. So the mining algorithm is uh, it takes time to find it and create it, and easy to verify it. Okay, so that's how it works. So it takes 10 minutes to create it, to mine a block, and it easy to verify um, people to kind of verify it. So this is simple mining. But the thing is that the new Ethereum 2.0 and the Polygon, they have changed the algorithm, the actual algorithm under the consensus algorithm. We are using the proof of stakes, which doesn't include the mining. So it basically reduces the electronic no the burden basically. So it just kind of you stake your tokens particular amount in the system. So that's why you have a skin in the game, and then you can become a part of the system, and you assume that you won't lie because you have a skin in the game. So um, yeah, that's how the new ETH 2.0 or Polygon are working towards. But yeah, if you want to learn more about mining, I would send some links through the email, and yeah, you can share to people who want to learn more about mining. Yeah, but yeah, like remember, the mining is just an algorithm, and that way it will be easy to visualize. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, so basically, the good part is that everyone, everyone is now remote. Um, the whole because of the internet, thanks to pandemic, kind of, everyone is remote. So in crypto also, mostly people are uh, from the starting, they are remotely working, and so for India, it is not a big problem, because you always hire people from outside India. But yeah, like blockchain developers are very hard to find anywhere in the world. So if you are learning blockchain, it's good. It's a good money, a good career path. For India, like it's not a big deal. I would say it's the same as the world. It's not about world versus India. It's the same. Okay, so there are multiple things where blockchain is not useful. So the thing is that think about this way. Okay, hey, if you if you really want to remove the middleman, then and then use the blockchain. Otherwise, you don't have to use blockchain at all. Some people are, you know, doing everything on the blockchain, but it is very hard to do that. It is not feasible at all. I don't have anything special in my mind which I say, okay, hey, this is where blockchain is not useful, because I haven't thought about it, to be honest, on where blockchain would be useful and where it is not. Like, of course, like there will be thousands of use cases where you can say blockchain is useful, and people are doing it, like financial systems. It's blockchain is very useful. But yeah, like it's use case by use cases. It depends like how, what are your use cases, and based on very contextful, meaningful way, you can define it is very useful or not. Sorry, I'm being very objective, like subjective here, but of course I don't have anything in my mind. Yeah. No, I think there is a one question, like it says, the transaction is verified by all the users, then doing the transaction will be very time consuming. Yeah, yes. So Bitcoin takes 10 minutes, and the Ethereum takes 15 seconds to create a blocks. And then there is a also, if once you receive the block, you have to verify it, right? So it's very time consuming, resource consuming. So that's where you should be careful what you should put on blockchain, right? Because sometimes you doesn't need this kind of resources, wasteful resources on the blockchain part. So that's why, yes, it's true. Is blockchain only resolves around the transaction systems? It depends, it depends on the design of the system. But when I say transactions, it's basically sending data to the blockchain systems, right? Think about the chat we are doing, right? So in blockchain terminology, it's called transaction. So if I'm sending a simple chat message to you, it is kind of transaction, in blockchain terminology, because I'm sending the message to you, to my system, and then it goes to you, right? So it is kind of passing the message to one particular point to second point. So yeah, it's kind of revolves around the transactions systems, right? And yeah, so that's I think that's the answer. Yeah, I think, yeah, that's it from my side. Yeah, it was great